All right. Hey, it's the Ham Radio Q&A live stream for October 2020. Thanks for joining us. And we're all here. Good evening. I'm Michael, KB9VBR, your host for Ham Radio Q&A. I'm on a mission to inspire and educate the amateur radio community. And this is our third live stream now that we've successfully launched. And with me today is our favorite co-host, Joe, KD9CGX. Hey, Joe. Joe, turn up your microphone.
I'll translate for him. I am so happy and handsome. Things are so good that I can't believe it. I think you're totally turned down, Joe.
Check your levels. Yeah.
You're not muted, but you've killed yourself. So now I'm the favorite co-host.
Hey, and our special guest this evening, Christian Cudnik, K0STH, is joining us. Christian's in the room. You might know him from 100 Watts in a Wire, that excellent amateur radio podcast that
Thanks.
Streams just about every Friday, I guess. You've been doing it for a few years now.
Oh, we were doing a weekly, and then last October I decided I'm going to go kind of bi-weekly for a little bit, kind of give myself some room, and then I found YouTube. I'm so late to the game. You guys are so big, and I'm like the little runt of the litter. But now I'm streaming on Saturday mornings, and it's so fun. It's just
like cartoons.
It's like Saturday morning cartoons and entertainment.
Joe,
thanks for having me.
Joe, you got your audio. You're still muted. No. Maybe you got to leave the room and come back. I don't know. Oh, I can hear him. You're super quiet.
Oh man.
Oh.
Okay. Well, we can chat it up. I was just letting the our friends know that we are live here, and I know it takes about a minute and a half for people to start to filter in. But I'm happy to be here. I bet you it's cold where you are. We had a pretty day, but the colder days are coming for sure.
The colder days are coming, but let me tell you, this was a very warm week for us. It's high in the 60s today, which was beautiful because I was outside working without a jacket. And they say we're going to hit 74 by Friday.
Oh, nice. So wasn't it really cold where you are?
Last week it was really cold. Yeah, it was. I had to turn the dang furnace on. So
yeah, you're up there.
Yeah,
you're up there. But it's good to be here. I appreciate you, and I enjoy your videos. You're quite the camper, man. I have to say. Is that what you consider yourself, a camper, or it's not like RVing? What do you call it?
No, I don't know. We call it glamping because it's that little trailer is something else. So, like I said, it's almost like a lifestyle, or it's becoming a lifestyle. And it's we've tent camped for 25 years or more, and had brought the kids out, and they camped all growing up, and now we get the kids out of the house. You get that little trailer, and it's just super easy to take off for a weekend.
Yeah, you actually were advising me, of tents because my girls are 10 and 6, and I was like, what should I do? I need something big enough for me and Mama and the girls, and you gave me some really good advice. And
yes.
And I see you had upgraded within at least a couple years where you got that teardrop. It's really beautiful. That thing.
Yeah. Awesome. We love it, and it was a great investment, and it's really, even this summer, with all of the COVID going on, it's just been tremendous to be able to go out camping and a nice quiet place to. Although the campgrounds are not state parks, and that have been loaded to the gills all summer long. So.
I'm not very good at backing up, and in your videos, I laugh at myself because I see you backing up, and I imagine it's your wife kind of giving you the "come on back, come on." You're backing it up, and I have a hard time with a tractor and a trailer behind it, a little thing. So I'm kind of feeling this tug to do the RV, but I think I need the thing that you would drive and it's all in one.
Yeah.
Or I really need to practice backing up better because I just feel there's Joe.
Here's Joe
Hey,
again.
here's me.
And I hear
now
you.
you sound much better.
That's great. I'm really glad I sound better because being silent is probably the best my wife has ever heard me.
Like old Hollywood movies over there, Joe.
There you go.
Exactly. Actually, I was gonna start blinking in Morse code if I couldn't get back on. So
As a no code ham that would be lost on me, I would just I think something's wrong.
All right.
I am drinking a Montana Mule, which is bourbon, in honor of Eddie Van Halen's passing.
Yes.
Not to, but I am pouring a little bit of this out for Eddie Van Halen, who really revolutionized. It's Stevie Ray Vaughan for me, and then Eddie Van Halen came along and just sort of changed that whole.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, just to go on record and history, as the stream makes it for infinitum. Just give him one up for Eddie Van Halen and his work.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. I'm going to pour one out too tonight for him here. Definitely 25 years. I think when I first picked up a guitar at 14 years old, the first thing I tried to do was play Eruption. That failed miserably. Eventually, I did learn bits and pieces of it. I haven't played recently. I've had a few hand surgeries, so the fingers aren't as nimble as they used to be. But at one point in time, I could get it pretty close. So, but yeah, when I heard it today, as soon as like the news broke, I got 10 messages on my phone, and I'm like, I said lots of 4-letter words that you cannot say on YouTube. And so, yeah, I'm still in shock. But I knew that he had been suffering for a long time. I think this bout of cancer had been almost 5 years. So it's, I'm glad that, he's not suffering anymore. And of course, he's had his demons over the years. So he's at peace, and we still have his legacy. So.
Yep. And that, you talk about, the seminal moments for me, myself, the 1984 album, I was in junior high at the time. So that tells you how old I am.
Right. Well, I think, and to tie it back to ham radio, I mean, how many of us go storm spotting and the first thing we do is we throw on Humans Being from Twister? I mean, you got to have the log version too. And you're cruising in your car, all right, we're going to go storm spotting. We're going to see a flying cow. That's the ingrained ham radio experience with Eddie Van Halen. So
yeah,
I got to meet him. I figured I would talk about it on my stream Saturday morning, but I pulled some of the vinyl.
Ooh.
I loved it. It was a part of my life. This is the first record, then Van Halen 2. And I'm missing a couple in here. I even got Carly Simon. How did she get in here? She's not dead. She's not dead.
Oh, you're so vain.
I'm so vain.
You probably think this song is about you.
Yeah, why is she getting in here? She should talk.
Yeah, how did they get away with that in 1984 with a baby smoking a cigarette?
Yep.
And
where was Al Gore when we needed him, right?
A serious, he got the lung cancer. He got throat cancer.
Throat cancer.
And was getting better, but didn't stop smoking. He wouldn't stop smoking. But so that could be some history in that, because he enjoyed the smoking, and not to judge. But anyway, I got to meet him in 1999 when I was working in Philadelphia, WMMR, and we were advised in the meet and greet to you can't shake his hand, and I imagine they just didn't want you to. So I thanked him for the music, but it was the Gary Sharon period. After Sammy Hagar, not as good. He was okay. But after David Lee Roth, Sammy Hagar, Gary Sharon, okay. And we went down the line, and when you got to him, he was the last person you had met, and you just looked at him like we do today. We don't shake hands. And I thanked him for the music, and it was just that quick. But it was one of those. Yeah, he's a legend.
Nice.
So
nice.
Good.
Right. That's cool. And I actually liked Van Halen 3. I liked the album, but no one else did. So.
You mean with Gary?
Yes. Yeah.
He has a great voice, very strong. I just think, you know what, following those two lead men, it was hard for Sammy. And Sammy wrote a couple of their biggest hits. I mean, How Do I Know When It's Love? And what's the other one? That was pretty big. But anyway,
right now.
Right Now, huge. And following those two, coming in as the third is kind of like the third parent. And people were sort of, you know, but they had a couple hits. We played a couple of their songs from that record. Something about Down in a Hole. Wasn't something about being in a hole. I don't know. Fire in the Hole.
Fire in the Hole was on, I want to say, Lethal Weapon 3. It was on one of the Lethal Weapon soundtracks.
Sorry, Michael. I know you want to talk about ham radio.
No, this is we should probably bring it back around to ham and save the story. You can save the stories for your podcast on Saturday morning, but it's certainly a great man, and sorry to see the music go, but he'll live in our memories. I was looking here at the chat log, and we do have a question. Cliff asks, have you ever been to Rhinelander and some of the camping areas up there? Is that state park up there? I think he's referring to the when I did the video on the Linked Dipole antenna. I was up in the Northern Highlands American Legion State Forest, so that's near Rhinelander. There's it's a pretty big area. A lot of camping as you get up into northern Wisconsin. I think there's more national forests near the Rhinelander area. But,
that would be Nicolay National Forest, I think. Nicolay, and then south of Rhinelander is Council Grounds in Merrill.
Yep.
So there's plenty of state and national forests and parks up there.
I got a state. I was looking on the Parks on the Air map, and there's it's not a state natural. I guess it is sort of it's a state natural area, but it's designated as hunting grounds, and it hasn't been activated yet. So it's okay. It's on my list. Maybe we can get in there before deer season, or we'll have to do it after deer season. But,
yeah, you got to check out deer season in Wisconsin. It's last fourth week in November, but there's always those little weekend ones too that lead up to it. So
yeah, because there could be there'd be archery or muzzle loaders or something, bookending both sides of the gun deer season. So that's on my list. That little spot too. Looking here, I thought I saw no. One more question here. Maybe we can keep on talking about the Linked Dipole antenna, because that's something that, Christian, you've really come to love that style of antenna.
Thank you. I don't know why it took me so long to figure it out. It was interesting to cut it. And then you've got to tune the first one. And then, the way you put it together, it's an actual dipole. And so I made one for 20 and for 40. And then I made one for 20, 40, and 80. And then I made one for 40 and 80 because, it's like you got to have that, right?
Well, you can just keep adding on and adding on.
Yeah. I mean, and I didn't think about this until this summer. And then finally I put it together and I love it because it's an actual real dipole. And I've been looking at an end fed a little bit. You can kind of do a similar linked situation with an end fed with I know nothing about, but I was talking to a ham friend. It was like, yeah, you could cut it for 40 and then see where it is and then do like you do with a linked dipole for 20. And it's a whole new world. I love antennas like you guys do, but the linked dipoles, it's my go-to right now.
Yeah.
So I don't put mono bands.
Yeah.
I thought that we'd hit it big with the off-center bed. So you made the off-center bed for 20, 40, and 80 this summer, Michael.
Yes, I did. Mm-hmm.
And I made a shortened one just for 20, 40. I think it worked on 15 and 10 too. Remember, it actually looked. The numbers look real decent on the analyzer. And we were at the local park for. I think that was for tune-up.
Yep.
And we had some pretty good results with that. I thought you were going to stay with the off-center bed, and then a month later, I'm going to make a linked dipole. Well, now that's your new baby. So
I like that off-center fed dipole. It's a beautiful antenna, and with a tuner, you can just you just change bands, and the tuner does its thing. The The only thing I don't like about it is that the 80-meter off-center fed is long. It's 133 feet long. And when I set it up for field day, I had it stretched over 2 campgrounds and halfway down the road. That's the only downside.
Problem.
That's their problem.
I don't see a problem here at all.
No. What's wrong with that? Was it working?
Yeah, it was working. It was certainly working. The Linked Dipole, what is that? The 40-meter, that's 60 feet, 60 and change, 65 feet. So I just put it up in the air. The last couple times I've used it, just put it up 25 feet or so and tie the ends off up over my head, so they're about 6-7 feet. And she was screaming. So that makes me question. Well, do I even need to carry the tuner all the time if I'm going to use the Wolf River coil as the vertical and then the Linked Dipole as the horizontal? I can jettison a piece of gear.
I think that's it. It's kind of a mono. It's a mono band. It's a dipole, so you know what it's tuned for. You tune it, and I run at 25 feet everything all the time. It seems to be my pocket, my comfort level with my mast. I tune it up on the bands, and I know what it is. And it's a dipole. It's really hard to beat. You can beat a dipole, but it is hard to beat them. And off-center fed. See, you got me wrapped up in this. You guys both got me wrapped up in this thing.
We're enablers.
Fed. You're a total enabler. And I'm like, what's the measurement? What's the measurement? I'm running around like a weird kid, I'm like, what? And then I cut it for 80 and it just didn't work. And then I didn't have enough room. And then you guys are like, cut it down. 40-20.
Just a little itty bit.
And I did that. And it's in my, I've got a 4-to-1 Ballon on that off-center fed, and it's in my bag. It's if I can't do the dipole, that's in there. So it's Linked Dipole and off-center fed are frontline portable stuff for me right now. Vertical, I need to think about that some more. Yeah.
The 2040 off-center fed right now is probably going to be my main antenna, unless I got to do 80 because I have that MCOM 3 portable. And that's really good for 80. It's real easy to get up because it's an end fed. You have half the length that you have to worry about with a dipole for 80. So that's great. And it's very compact when rolled up in a bag. But I think for 10 through 40, the off-center fed's where I'm going to be at for a while at least.
Yeah, and right now, since we're still digging ourselves out of the basement of the solar cycle, it's 20 and 40 meters. That's where the action is right now. And, maybe when things get better, I'll look at changing, what I use for portable work because then I'm going to want the higher bands like 15 and 10 meters. But right now, bread and butter is 40 and 20. Yeah. So.
Exactly.
I hope you guys will join me on my thing one Saturday and come and talk about it because you've been in the game much longer than I have. And it's fascinating to talk antennas. Like frontline stuff, and it's
like we got the 1,000-yard stare when it comes to antennas.
I'm like, so tell me, I'll put it this way: you guys started talking about the off-center fed, and we're messaging back and forth, and I'm like, yeah, I do like an off-center fed. Sprinting to the house, like I got to get that balance. I can do it. I've got a 4-to-1, and it gets you thinking, like what. We talked about this last Saturday, all that you can't leave behind, talking about the fallout. What's in your stuff, Michael, because you're on the road so much? What are the things, and this was the conversation. And I'd love to have you guys come on and talk about those, what are the little things that you think about? Oh, yeah. I might need that.
Oh, yeah.
It helps you fill up the boxes. It's not going to get you up on the summit.
Yep.
But you've got what you need and exploring what is that. And I think about that more now with, kind of wrapping up the season or being portable, doing some traveling maybe in November. And what do you need?
So, we certainly, we'll come back to that in a second when we start talking about fallout. But I got a couple questions here. I'm just browsing the chat log. Nuts for Jeeps. I'm taking the technician's test this Saturday. Should I try the general at the same day?
You're crazy if you don't.
Absolutely. It's if you pass the tech, it's a free test to take the general. And I'd probably say, if all of the license, the tests we've administered, probably about more than a quarter, 20-30% pass, get their general the same day.
Yeah, at least one per test session gets it. If we have a test session of 8 or 10, someone's going to do it. Last year, or was it 2 years ago, we had someone do the trifecta.
Yep.
It went from no loan license to extra in one sitting. So, but the general is not that bad. If you're going to study, and you got your technician stuff down, start looking at the general stuff right away. Start taking the general tests online. And if you're getting 60, 70%, you have a really good possibility of walking in there and getting both.
Oh, yeah.
The extra, you need to sit down, you need to get some time behind the wheel and really, get prepared for it before you take the extra. But even if you think you're going to bomb the general, it's a free shot.
That's
Go
right.
for it.
You
At
never,
least you know what to expect.
Yeah. And really, a lot of the material between a technician and a general, they kind of mesh together. And if you feel confident with the technician material, a lot of that stuff on the general test, you're going to be able to either figure out on your own or infer the answer and pass it. So do them both.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I saw another person, let's see. Criminy was another one about, they were talking about the tests.
I think someone
it was
responded.
Daniel, yeah. I'm working to get my ticket, but I want to listen on one of the nets, live 7.5 miles from the repeater in a deep valley. Would an HT or a mobile antenna be the best for my first? Oh man, you can go either way on that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Well, depending on what's between you and the repeater, that's the biggest issue. If you're in a hole and the repeater is directly above you, a simple antenna outside the house should be sufficient. But if you have any sort of landmass in the way, it's going to be a trick. And one of the things you're going to learn as a ham is that you're going to have to find different ways to overcome that because terrain is a killer. Now we're in Wisconsin. So everyone thinks it's nice and flat. However, just directly to the south of me and Michael is Rib Mountain, which is really a hill, but it's about 1,800 feet. And there's just a huge repeater dead zone for our club's repeater directly to the southwest of that. And to compensate, we put up a simulcast site, not as a standalone repeater, but as a simulcast to try to fill in that dead zone. But even then, it's a little tricky. So I would start off, get something outside of the house. Even if you're connecting an HT to an antenna outside, it's still going to be better than an HT antenna inside the house.
Yeah.
And then work from there. I'm not going to tell you to put up a tower right away, but you're going to have to start. You're going to have to be a little tricky, and work and talk to some other hams in the area because they know the terrain too, and they should be able to help you out and give you some ideas.
Yeah, I guess start with the handheld and an external antenna. You most likely will need the external antenna, and kind of work your way from there. So let's see. Got some people. Marty said good luck on the technician test. So
absolutely, yeah. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah. Let's see.
Is it still
Mike,
$15 to take the test?
Yes, it is.
Good.
Mike loves the videos, but what he likes almost even more are the awesome breakfast sandwiches. So we're gonna have to do like a field day live stream or something while I'm cooking breakfast. So
are Bloody Marys involved?
Well, they could be.
All right.
Let's see. Zero Cool. Jump up to 10 meters every once in a while. Probably a lonely tech up here. Would have to have a chat. We got to do more 10 meters. That
reminds me of your National Parks on the Year activation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, funny story. So we did a 4 for national parks one weekend. So this is 4 years ago. So there's like basically 4 national parks entities that we could hit in Wisconsin. We hit all 4 of them, 2 in one day, and then the other 2 were actually together. So we hit 4 of them, and Michael got skunked the first day.
I was having terrible luck.
You were having terrible luck.
Yeah.
And I was still pretty young. I think I just had in my general, and I was doing pretty good. I was making quite a few contacts. And then Sunday, 10 meters opened up.
Yep.
And I think you had 40 contacts in an hour and a half. It just, it's one of those things. It's like 10, especially right now, 10 meters is dead.
Yep.
But when it opens up, especially in the summer, June, July, August, the sky's the limit. So we agree. We would love to be on 10 meters more, but it's sometimes right now it's a exercise in futility.
I think there's a 10-meter contest in December.
Is there?
Yeah, if I remember correctly. So I'll put that on my calendar, because that's, if you want to open up the band, you have a contest. So
right. And turn on the amplifier.
There you go. All right, I'm gonna take a pause here, and we got a lot of cool tech running today. And one of the ways in which we can kind of do things like this is through our patron support. And you can support Ham Radio Q&A and also unlock a bunch of exclusive content over on our Patreon feed. And that's over at patreon.com/KB9VBR antennas. And I'd just like to thank, the new patrons that we picked up in the last month. I should have wrote their names down, but I'll give you shout outs in the next videos. So,
yep.
But that's
maybe we'll make a Patreon exclusive video of my shack. And I promise I will try to clean it up.
There you go. Yeah, so if you want to see the channel grow and continue, you can always, check us out at patreon.com/KB9VBR antennas. So, and let's get Christian back into the conversation here, because one of the reasons why we brought you here this evening, or invited you, which you've been so gracious to attend, is that you've got an event coming up, and so why don't you tell us a little bit about 100 watts in a wire? I know you've done the podcast for a few years, but then also tell us a little bit about Fallout.
Okay, sure. Yeah, thank you for that. Well, 100 watts in a wire started probably a little over 5 years ago now, and I had been doing some videos for Ham Nation and bringing in new hams. At the time, I was new to HF. Bob Heil's a local. I met up with him, and I started asking him a lot of questions. He's got a big brain, and I like those kind of folks, and I needed it, at the time. And so I thought maybe I was leaning on him a little too much. A couple of guys locally, and I was asking too many questions of too few people. And I thought, being a radio guy, maybe I need to get myself, I needed to water my soul plant, because broadcast radio was a little weird at the time, still is worse probably by now, but I needed a way to be creative. So I started 100 Watts and Wire as an audio podcast to kind of follow my journey of discovery, trying to figure out what happened. I would talk to guys like you and figure out what I needed to do to make things work. I know how this side of the mic works. I didn't know how the back end works. So now we're 250 episodes into it. I know a little bit more now, but I still spend time as the seeker, trying to figure out what we're doing. So it still is an audio podcast. Watching guys like you have turned it into now a YouTube thing that I'm excited about. We can talk about that later. But I love field day. And my first field day, I went out there and I set up an antenna, 100 watts, wire in the tree, got on a frequency, and some flame throwing. I was a little pistol, and a big gun was like, "Yours it," and I was like, okay, it just changed the game for me. I'm now pouncing, I guess you'd call it, or I'm waiting all day. I couldn't park and bark. I couldn't hold the frequency, and just came up with a way to maybe level the playing field away from that and do 100 watts or whatever you want to do, and set some time aside as an excuse to get out and operate. And so being portable is the main crux of it, but it's not mandatory. And we do it twice a year. We do the tune-up, which happens 2 weeks before a field day, which is cool for me because, if you're with a club, you may have a role in that club. You may be on the air at a certain time. You may be launching the potato gun over the tree. That might be your gig.
You might be making breakfast like Michael.
Which is extremely important.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
extremely important. But during the year, you've been tinkering. You've been trying to put things together. You're building an antenna. You may not get to test it on field day. This was a way to get out there and see what you've done. Work your gear. Do it for you. And we do one in the fall. And we have one coming up Thursday night at 7:00 Central Time is technically Friday, UTC time. And we run all the way through Sunday, anytime, any band, any mode, in the shack, outdoors, mobile. It's really an excuse, guys, to get on the air, and put it on your calendar and say, we're going to go out and operate, make some contacts. And the exchanges are very simple. It's just, your call sign. If you have a 100 watt ID, which you can get on our website, everything's free. You can exchange that. There's a point system, but it's not a contest. And we have a random drawing. And this year, you guys will be happy to know that we're doing the first actual real station giveaway. MFJ gave a Zygu radio. I have it here. I've been beating it up a little bit out there. Hopefully I'll clean it up before I send it off to you guys. But we've got LDG. LDG said, look, that radio has an antenna tuner in it. Why don't we give you an NFED and a Ballon Unin? Power Film Solar said we'll give you a solar panel, Bio NO power. We'll give you a battery. It's a full station. ABR is going to give ABR Industries is going to give 50 feet of coax. So you're really technically ready to go. Just put it in a bag or a box and you're off. Now there's some little incidentals you might want to think about bringing with you, but a random drawing, you get 25 points. And some of the stations are worth 5. Like I'll be on and I'll be worth 5 points. Just get 25 points to qualify. We get oftentimes one contact. Oh, I could only work one guy, but they want hundreds of dollars worth of prizes. Let's make it fair. Get 25 contact points. It's an honor system. And we all know, you've got to have your honor in ham radio. You got to run the power limits. You got to do it right.
It's like golf. You got to play on your honor.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting giveaway this year. I'm proud of the fact that we actually have a full station we can give away. It's 20 watt radio, but everything else is what you need to be portable. But again, do it on your own time, whenever you want, any band, any mode, anytime that weekend, and really no rules. Like you guys have been, part of this for the tune-up. You gave away 5 points. Every contact you made, whether the person knew it or not, they got 5 points for working you. You're like a wild card or a bonus station. So I would visit the website, if I may, Michael, just 100 watts and a watt, 100 watts and a wire.com. Could be the bourbon slipping in a little bit. I don't know what the website is. There it is. Thank you. Cheers. It's all there for you. And at the end, you don't have to submit any logs. You just go back to this page.
You can
it's
set
the operating
events. Yeah.
Operating events. And at the bottom of that is a brief form. Just let us know, the information is not shared. It goes to the makers of the gear so they can send it to you directly. And that's it. It's just that easy. It's just an excuse to get out and play. And we all need that. We all need that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and with Central Wisconsin, it's probably going to be our last chance getting out and playing. Maybe winter field day, but that's a little bit of a different situation. So this is the last time I could do it without like winter clothing on.
I see the guys in Florida and they're like, winter field day. I'm like, whatever.
Ooh, in their shorts and t-shirt.
Yeah. I got to wear a fleece.
We got a couple people. Yeah, Marty says, can't wait for Fallout this weekend. So,
thank you, Marty.
And Barry also mentioned it's going to be a good time. Looking forward to it. Operating in a soybean field in Tennessee.
Cool.
So, hey, nice.
Well, I have a question for Tennessee. In a soybean field, do you have like the Asian beetles problem in soybeans like we do in Wisconsin? Let us know, because the one thing that we've had in the past 15, 20 years is this invasive species that looks like a ladybug, and you cannot be near a soybean field anywhere this time of year because they just swarm you. So I hope you have good luck, because I would stay away from them up here in Wisconsin.
Oh, Asian beetles are terrible. Yeah, stinky bug. So
It is a stinky bug.
Yeah.
Not a stink bug, but a stinky,
No,
and not
a
a ladybug either. Not a ladybug.
No, they're not at all.
Not a ladybug.
Zero Cool says, are you planning on making a 10-meter J-pole antenna? I know we have talked about that. I've talked about it. And I was going to build one last spring, and COVID got in the way, and it kind of backburnered. But I should do it yet. Get it before.
Well, I think we were talking about, because this is okay. So this is one of those antennas we talk about after a couple beverages. The 10-meter or the 11-meter J-pole, because that has been discussed as well. The problem is it's huge. It's ginormous.
It's like 28 feet.
Yeah, we don't know how to ship it.
Yeah.
It would have to, but so I was working at a job, and there was a lot of excess 2-inch copper pipe, and I was actively pestering the plumbers to save some for me, because like 2-inch copper pipe would actually be rigid enough that we'd have a little stability. Have you seen Michael's 6-meter J-pole? It's a pretty big antenna. A 10-meter J-pole is 28 feet. So and don't expect it on the website anytime soon. We'll just say that.
The problem is I can't ship the 10-meter one because it's just too long, and it'd be broken down into too many pieces. So
why don't we give that away in spring when we do the tune-up? You guys can give away a thing, whatever crazy thing you come up with.
They would have to drive up here and pick it up.
Yeah. So
bring a trailer.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about it. We'll see if we can get one. And Barry says that we do have Japanese beetles in Tennessee.
Oh,
so
my apologies.
Oh, One Finger, what are your thoughts on the in-fed half-wave antennas?
Yeah.
We've used them. Joe, you have an in-fed half-wave.
It's an end-fed random wire.
Okay.
Because the thing with those antennas, if it doesn't work, add more wire. So saying it's a half wave is not really the case. I got about 140 feet of wire in the air. So it'll tune down on 80. It doesn't work very well on 160, even with an external tuner. But 40, 20, 15, when 15 opens, that thing rings like a bell.
Yeah.
80 works good, but an 80, because I have it as a inverted V, and it's very envious at 80 meters, which is great, because then I can get into all the local state nets. I can work the upper Midwest fine, but it doesn't go very long. So I like them. Like I said, I have that MCOM 3 in my go bag for 80 meters, but if you can get one that works, and it takes a little bit of playing around with, but if you can get a end-fed antenna, especially on 80, to work, it's half the real estate, and it works just the same. So that's my thought on the end-fed.
Can I ask you a question, Michael?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because with all your camping, and I follow your adventures, and I'm a subscriber, and I've been watching you. That sounded creepy. I'm not watching you like that. But I wonder. I noticed that you were using like a website to track your contacts, and you were making a lot of contacts to the east. And I find that this summer, especially, I'm working a lot of east, and I'm south of you. Any idea of why we are not working west as much? It's not completely shut down to us, but like you, I work a lot of East Coast, like the 13 colonies type states.
it's the west, west of the Rockies. Even at my home station, it's always difficult for me, and I don't know if that's just up here in the upper Midwest in Wisconsin that I have trouble with that. But yeah, at home here, I have no trouble, hitting Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, and then eastward. You're always guaranteed Foreland. You're always guaranteed Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana. I mean, I can get those guys on 40 meters without even trying. So I don't know. That's a really good question. I've noticed that too in making those contact maps, is that it's just I don't see much of the West Coast, which is funny because last Saturday was the California QSO party, and 20 opened up, and in about a 45-minute period, I worked 6 California stations. So I don't know. It's all crazy.
I wonder, I mean, I think that maybe it's mountains. Maybe it's the mountains, and it's harder for me to get over the mountains out. But I can hit in the shack. I'm fine. I can run power. But when I go out in the field, man, it is just like, if I get, slightly west, it's a big deal. Or then at a rare occasion, I'll hit Washington State or something really weird.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, my signals are going to like Connecticut. That's a haul from here. But it's fine. But west is just a whole different ballgame. And I had just guessed the terrain and the mountains, but
I think that has a lot to do with it. Yeah.
I saw your map and I was like, he's getting the same sort of results, and maybe it's just a propagation the day. I don't know, but it's good to see somebody else is dealing with it.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing to consider too is the density of number of hams per square mile. There's a lot less hams out. California a little bit different. But you get Rocky Mountains and a little bit east of the Rockies. There's not as many hams as there are out in Southwest or the Southeast United States.
That's true.
So,
that's a good point.
Yeah. What was it? Man, I worked at South Dakota State. Oh, one of the parks on the air. I worked South Dakota. It's like I never talked to South Dakota. So.
Right, one of the hardest ones for worked all states. South Dakota and North Dakota are like some of the hardest. You'll get Alaska and Hawaii before you get to the Dakotas.
Yep, exactly. So, we got some confirmation here. Kate MRD says, "Yeah, I'm not getting west either." So, thanks.
Hello, Mike.
Yeah, Mike. Thanks for stopping in tonight. So we're not the only ones that can't get west of the Rockies.
I just worked him in a park a weekend or so ago. He works at a park near him, and he's going for a big award. And I was in the field and got to work him. I can get north of me just fine, but
yeah,
I got to be inside here to get west. I need to throw more power.
Yep. So
this is fun.
Yeah, well, W0BNC, worked me in Colorado recently. Yep, Colorado, I've got no problem hitting Colorado stations. So it's the front range is good, but over the pass is bad. So it's crazy. I've got a question here. Then we'll go through some of the online comments, but this is something that somebody posted a couple days ago asking me, and maybe I'm going to throw it out to the group because I'm kind of at a loss for this. So I'm having trouble with the battery power in just about every area. Most frustrating is mobile. It's the D710 in the car, and it's hooked up straight to the battery. When he tries to transmit at 50 watts, the radio cuts out even with the car running. Could be, I guess, the battery is getting older, probably 3 to 4 years might be the problem. And then medium power 10 watts is not at all. Yeah, medium power at 10 watts works fine, but it's not quite adequate for simplex. He also has a deep cycle RV battery. Put it in the back of my SUV and tried to run the D710 from that, and it also cut out at 50 watts, just keying up, and it's fully charged. So, any thoughts on how to run full power when mobile? And I asked him about what type of cable he was using, if the cable was too thin, and he did respond that it was the stock cable that came with the Kenwood. So,
run like a number 10 or a number 8. And then make sure that your connections to the battery are good and solid. If you got a weak connection there, or it's not making real good contact, you're not going to get the full ampacity of that wire, and you're choking it out. So I was just, in fact, Michael, you were with me this weekend, and we were talking to a friend of ours. He ended up having a similar problem. He had a mobile radio. It was an old Motorola Astro Spectra, and those radios apparently will check the potential current before they will even let you do anything.
Oh, gee.
And for some reason, his radio wouldn't turn on. He ran number 6s, and then he was able to, it would work just fine. So that stock cable may not be sufficient. Now, the good thing is number 10 wire isn't that expensive. You can get a roll of 15 feet online for maybe 20, 25 bucks.
Yeah.
But the second thing, though, is make sure that you have a good solid connection either to your battery or battery terminals. Make sure that you're using like good crimp terminations. They get the little crimp terminals on there. Make sure those are really good and tight, and then make sure your battery terminals are clean. If you get that green or blue crud on your battery, you're going to have a bad connection. And that, because when you transmit and a radio shuts off, it's a power supply issue. It's not it's not the radio usually. It's usually your source. So make sure you got a good, clean power supply, and it should work.
Yeah, I guess one thing you could try is if you do have not a battery but a power supply, like a 25 amp power supply, hook the radio up to that to make sure it's not a radio issue. But I think that connections probably is the most logical reason right now. It's good, get a good solid connection between the battery and the radio. Otherwise, it will. If it's loose, they'll shut off. So. All right. Let's see. I'll pop up a question in a little bit, but we can talk about future events, what we got coming up in October. And I do have I got a video that's sitting on the editor right now. So it'll probably, I don't know if it'll drop this week. It might drop early next week. We'll see. It's a busy, I've been pretty busy building a fence in my backyard this week, but we had a fox hunt last Saturday. So we got,
we won't mention who won this one.
It's a surprise. Right. It wasn't me.
No, and it wasn't me.
Oh, wait a minute now. Just for everybody watching, it seems like it's a little inside. Did you do it with a club, or did you do it sort of just a couple of fellas?
It was a club event. We had about 4 people. Okay. We had 4 people chase the fox. I hid the fox. So
okay. And if you saw the preview picture on his channel, he put a GoPro where the fox was hidden, so you could see the person's face as they found it.
Cool.
And it's interesting. I'll just say that.
Cool.
So we got that coming up. Joe, you're working on a project with some multimeters. So
right, yeah. So I took care of some of my video and audio issues here. Obviously, for some reason, I have video and audio issues here, and I just put together a demonstration on multimeters for amateur radio use. So it's a really good for the beginner. I know there's going to be a lot of guys that use all sorts of equipment under the spectrum, and they'll tell me a little different things. And I'm going to tell you what, if you're going to try to do any sort of diagnostics or repair, 90% of it can be done with just a multimeter. You don't need thousands of dollars of test equipment. And I think I'll do that. I might do a few other ones too, kind of showing how to use them, what not to do. You can blow up a multimeter real quick, even in amateur radio world. But it's something, even in a go bag, a $30 multimeter will probably save your operations at one point in time or another.
Oh yeah. So. An inexpensive multimeter is a great piece of kit to carry along with you. So
exactly.
And that would even, maybe with the battery issue too, of that previous question, that might also help diagnose the problem, so you can see.
The problem with his issue is a multimeter is probably not going to be a multimeter in series is probably not going to handle the current draw that his D710 is going to pull. His D710 is probably going to pull more than 10 amps, and I don't recommend more than 10 amps on a multimeter. The good ones will do up to 15, maybe up to 20 before they blow a fuse. But it's very easy to blow a fuse on those or do irreparable damage. So
something we might have to sacrifice to the gods. the big sky diode.
Right. Well, maybe the bands and propagation will open up a little if we offer a sacrifice.
There you go. All right, and then I'm actually I got one, maybe two more camping trips planned in October. So I'll be gone this weekend. Maybe you might even hear me on the air for Fallout. So, and it'll be a bonus, Parks on the Air bonus for that. And then another one coming up as we get closer to the end of the month. I'm gonna camp as long as I can until the snow flies.
Do you guys
have the
Go ahead, Joe.
Go ahead, Christian.
Oh,
okay. I would just want to see if you guys want to be bonus stations. You're more than welcome. I think people enjoy something to chase, So if you're going to play it all this weekend, consider it. No pressure, but I'll put you on the list, and there's chances to get 5 points.
If I get on the air, I'll throw something out on the 100 Watts on the Wire Facebook page.
Cool.
Yep, same here. And by the way, no one has ever chased me, especially my wife. She will never admit to that. But if anyone's willing to chase, I should be on the air some point in time this weekend. And same thing, I'll throw it out on the Facebook page, and I'll start calling CQ.
There you go. All right, so we got that coming up. I don't know what else is going to happen. Maybe I'll probably do a little bit of bonus content for the Patreon page. Try to get at least one or two bonus videos a month out there. And let's see, we got some comments here. Gerald from South Texas says hi.
Howdy.
Brian says check for oxidation and poor contact in the T connector going to the 710. So all around,
that's a possibility.
Yeah. Let's see. We got another Colorado ham that says there's a lot more hams east of Colorado than there are in West Colorado. So, and there's another one that I wanted to highlight here. And also Mike N1REA, he's just joined our Patreon group. So thank you so much, Mike. Nice. It's really appreciated. Help keep us stable here with this new tech. I kind of like this new live stream format that we're working on. And thank you, Christian, for helping. I know you've kind of put a lot of effort into the live stream, and I sort of coached you along the way to get the YouTube channel going. So I guess it's kind of mutual. So.
Payback.
I
don't think we're even yet, but I'm happy to help.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's pretty
fun.
It is. This has worked out well. So we got a couple minutes left. I guess it's kind of as we start to wind things down here. One more question. I know we're talking about the.
This one's for you, Joe. Fair warning. We'll do fair warning.
Ooh, fair warning. That's a good one.
Do that. It's a weird.
That's one of their darker albums. I would say weird. Fair warning is as dark as For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. So, and I think Fair Warning Diver Down was the third album. Yeah. Fair Warning was the fourth one. So yeah, after 3, 4 albums, and for the record, Balance was also darker than the first two Sammy Hagar, Van Halen or Van Hagar albums. So yeah, so if Sammy would have stayed around for a fifth one, then who knows? It would have been like 1984 all over again.
It could have been.
Sorry, Michael. Sorry.
No, it's good. So. Just one. Yeah, I was going to kind of finish up here. One person asked. Tim posted on the one of their YouTube comments. You know, when I did the review of the little stick here, the Rig Expert stick, how does it compare to the Nano VNA products? Do they have similar accuracy? So.
Oh, well, Nano VNA is totally different beast. It's a vector network analyzer.
Mhm.
Now, it's built for tuning antennas generally, but the Nano VNA just gives you a total different information. Smith chart, reflection loss, not that. You know, the main thing with the stick. First of all, I like Rig Expert. I have a AA54. And that goes in. That's in my go bag as well.
Yep.
But the Nano VNA is probably not something you're going to take out in the field very often. It's more for actually building the antenna, and then when you get out in the field, you have an analyzer just to check it. But the information on the Smith chart and the data is totally now. Some of the data is going to be the same, or it's going to be very close in terms of accuracy. But I would say that the VNA, leave at home, the stick, put in a bag and take it with you.
Yeah.
And you said you got a Nano VNA, didn't you?
I bought one last year, and it's been sitting on my desk. And
well, it's going to be another review video, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull it out. I know, you know, they got it. I think the problem with those Nano products is that you got to hook it up to a computer because the screen is tiny. You got to recalibrate them all the time. But I know a lot of people use them because they're inexpensive and they will give you SWR, but it's
I'm trying. There is a YouTube channel, and I forget the name of the gentleman. He has tested the Nano VNA pretty thoroughly for amateur radio. I'll have to get the call sign. I just can't think of it off the top of my head.
Yep.
But he goes into that to the point where it's over my large ginormous gourd. And if you want to have questions about it, that is the YouTube channel to check out. So
yeah, I know there's lots of videos on the Nano VNA. So, but it's on my list. So I gotta get to it. So, all right. Any last words as we kind of wrap things up for this evening? I know
there was a question I saw for you, Michael.
Let's see. Yeah, no,
on the Dipole.
Yeah, on the mic says, loves the Van Halen tribute, so thanks that. 3301. Here's one: Dipole or Slim Jim?
Ooh.
That's a good question. I usually say that it kind of depends. I mean, the nice thing about the Slim Jim antennas is they got a little bit lower RF radiation takeoff angles, so they're going to focus more energy towards the horizon. So I tend to tell people that if you live in, a little bit above average terrain, a high spot, you can get the antenna up, 30 feet in the air or so, go with the Slim Jim and you'll take advantage of its properties. Otherwise, if you're in a low-lying area, if you can only get the antenna up a few feet, then the Dipole it's going to work just fine, because it's got that nice omnidirectional radiation angle. So it's works really nice in those kind of in those low spots. So that's about it for that. And we'll do this again next month. I know this is, like I said, we're getting the bugs worked out, and I think we've kind of figured out a format that seems to be working.
Well, this went better than last month.
This went a lot better than last month. Even if Joe, you're only on the other side of town, I kind of like this better.
The feeling's mutual, jerk.
I think I need to say something here, but I just can't figure out what I should say to jump in the middle of this. But
you're happy you're in Missouri.
You probably don't want to be in the middle of this.
We're feuding.
We've been working and talking about this for a while, so I do really appreciate you guys doing it. It's really timely now with the fallout coming up, and you guys participate in tune-up and things, and I appreciate your support, and congratulations on your channel. I mean, it's significant. It's like, I was saying
you.
the other day, I'll never catch you guys. It's not about that for me. I might see you on the next when you come back around.
Well, you're growing too. And if you see if you like the added benefit of watching a face while they're talking, check out the 100 Watts and Wire YouTube channel, because it's really nice.
It's fun just to kind of see the show. Some people like that with Rush Limbaugh or Howard Stern. I'm not in that category, but I think you can look in and see the show, and you see a lot of this because when you're doing radio, you're all over dealing with things. But I really love this platform to be able to engage the audience. And I think it was, we were talking about YouTube, and I was on the fence, and I know you were kind of pushing me in that way, like it's okay and grow it organically. And I'm like, well, I'm a gardener. I think I can wait it out. And
there you go.
But, it'll grow organically. And I think engagement, one of the things I love about your channel is that the people who are subscribing to you are engaged in what you're doing. And I think that says something. That really says something. So thank you for what you do.
Oh, you're welcome. And I always say we've got the best viewers and the best commenters out there, because I get some really good, really, really great comments for the videos.
And you don't hide from it too. That's another thing I gotta say. Since I've been drinking this mule, I got a little bit of bourbon in me now. You don't shy away from taking a comment that may be a little challenging you a little bit. I guess I'm saying that right, but you'll say, you'll address it. You don't just take the good. You address the maybe the conversational aspects of dissension or discord. You address it and deal with it. And I've seen Joe on the video just shut people down because it's like,
no. Because
like you deal with
when I see some of that stuff, and then I have to walk away and Michael responds. So
sometimes there might be a little bit of snark, but
it's good cop, bad cop.
There you go.
Shy away from it. I think the fact that you present it, you just present it out there and you address it. That says something, because not everybody will deal with any sort of kind of conflict, and you address it, you give your point, and you welcome other points. And I think that's a really cool thing.
Remember, we're amateurs, we're not professionals.
There you go. Okay, and finishing things up, I think we've got something that we need to work on for the next stream. Grab a fresh tech and answer his or her questions. So,
yes, excellent.
It sounds like a trip to HR, but okay.
There's probably going to be some hurt feelings. No,
we'll figure that one. We'll figure that one out. I
like
that idea. So, all right. Well, Christian, it's thanks for joining us this evening. And
thank you both.
Don't be a stranger. We'll have to have you on again sometime.
And I want you guys to come on my thing too. If you're home and you're not traveling or on the road, or if you have Wi-Fi, because you can do this now. I know you've been exploring. You can do this on your phone. So if you're around on a Saturday morning, please. I'd love to have you guys.
I hate to say this, but I just got a cell phone booster for the trailer, so I got to figure out how to make it work, though. But yeah, we can do it. So, all right, and Joe, it's always a pleasure. So.
Yeah, that's a lie. You know it. I appreciate it, Michael. Thank you.
No, I've seen the comments. It's going to be a good one when Joe's in it. So.
Oh yeah. Especially my service responding after 10 o'clock at night. I've been up all day.
All right. So one last pitch. For more articles and information, be sure to check out our blog at www.jpole-antenna.com. Support of this channel drives the production of future videos, so check us out on Patreon. And with that, everybody, you have a great evening, 73, and stay safe.